In 480 BC, the Persian Empire stretched across continents, gathering beneath the will of one king. Xerxes sat in royal splendor, planning not a raid, but the conquest of Greece itself. From deserts, mountains, rivers, and distant provinces, soldiers marched beneath the banners of Persia. Across the Hellespont, engineers lashed ships together, turning the sea into a road of war. Then the army crossed from Asia into Europe, step after step, like thunder on wood. Along the coast, the Persian fleet advanced beside them, a second army moving over water. Gold, iron, leather, banners, and royal insignia announced the power of the great king. Xerxes watched his invasion unfold as if geography itself had been forced to obey him. The largest force Greece had ever faced moved south, swallowing the horizon as it came. Greece was not a single nation, but rival city-states divided by pride and fear. 10 years earlier at Marathon, the Greeks had proved that Persia could be beaten. For Persia, that defeat was not forgotten. It remained a wound inside imperial memory. Now rumors of Xerxes' return spread through marketplaces, harbors, temples, and council halls. Many Greek cities chose submission, offering earth and water before the storm arrived. But Athens and Sparta refused to kneel before the great king of Persia. Across Greece, leaders argued through the night: surrender, retreat, negotiate, or fight. Fear and necessity forced old enemies to imagine, for once, a common defense. They chose Thermopylae, a narrow pass where stone could make numbers almost useless. In Sparta, war was not a profession, it was the shape of life itself. Boys were taken young and taught hunger, silence, pain, discipline, and obedience. Before they became warriors, they learned that fear must be mastered in the mind. Adult Spartans drilled until the phalanx moved not as men, but as one body. Among them stood Leonidas, older, harder, and carrying the weight of Sparta's law. His face showed no panic, only age, discipline, duty, and a dangerous calm. The tools of Sparta were simple: shield, spear, sword, training, and absolute will. To his men, Leonidas was more than a king. He was law made flesh. Around him gathered 300 chosen warriors, fathers marching north toward a fate they understood. At Delphi, prophecy turned military strategy into something darker and more personal. Either Sparta would fall, the oracle warned, or one of her kings must die. But Sparta was bound by sacred festival, and full mobilization was forbidden. The elders allowed Leonidas to take only his royal guard of 300 men. He chose warriors who already had sons, so their family lines would survive. The farewells were quiet because Spartans did not believe in wasting grief loudly. A father held his child, knowing touch might become memory before long. Leonidas prepared not like a man chasing glory, but like one accepting price. Then the 300 left Sparta, and the road north became a funeral path. The Spartans marched through dust, rock, and rising heat under a pitiless Greek sun. Along the road, allies from other cities joined them, one contingent at a time. Leonidas now led more than Spartans. He led a fragile idea called Greece. Every step brought them closer to an empire already moving with impossible scale. At last, the Greek force reached Thermopylae, the place called the Hot Gates. Here, mountain and sea squeezed the world into a corridor of stone and steam. The soldiers understood at once. Here a few could stand against the many. Leonidas studied the ground carefully, reading cliffs and shoreline like a battlefield scripture. They had not come to escape death. They had come to buy time. Thermopylae was a gate of rock, sea, sulfur, wind, and destiny. The Greeks rebuilt the old Phocian wall, stone by stone, under urgent hands. At the narrowest point, hoplite shields began to close the road itself. The phalanx formed, a bronze machine designed perfectly for this unforgiving terrain. Leonidas walked the line slowly, measuring discipline in every silent face. Above them, a hidden mountain path curved behind the pass like a secret blade. Phocian troops were sent to guard that silent back door through the hills. Bronze, leather, ashwood, red cloth, and iron waited for the coming storm. By evening, the trap was set. Now Persia would have to enter it. Then Persia arrived, and to the Greeks the horizon itself seemed to move. Xerxes raised his throne above the battlefield, like a judge above the world. A Persian scout found the Spartans calm, exercising, preparing, almost impossible to understand. The Spartans combed their hair, dressing for death as if dressing for ceremony. A herald crossed the silence with one command: "Lay down your weapons." Leonidas heard the demand and offered the empire no fear at all. His answer was short enough to survive centuries: "Come and take them." Xerxes could not believe that so few men still refused to run. For a moment, both armies waited inside the breath before history broke open. The battle began with arrows darkening the morning sky above the pass. Greek shields rose together, and for a moment, bronze became a roof. Then the first Persian infantry wave surged into the narrow road below. They crashed into the phalanx and discovered that the road had become sealed. Spartan and allied spears moved with discipline, timing, and relentless control. The pass turned Persian numbers into pressure, crowding, fear, and confusion. Greek contingents rotated forward, fresh men replacing those exhausted by the first assault. From his throne, Xerxes watched certainty become frustration before his own eyes. The first day ended, and against all expectation, the Greek line still stood. Xerxes now sent the warriors meant to be unbeatable, the royal immortals. They advanced in elite formation, their armor gleaming with imperial confidence and pride. They entered the pass certain that reputation itself would become victory. But bronze shields and longer Greek spears met them with cold precision. The Greeks feigned retreat, drew them forward, then turned like a closing trap. Even the immortals were forced back from the hot gates in disorder. Xerxes rose in shock, seeing his finest men fail before a narrow wall. The pass had become proof that even Persia could bleed and be stopped. Night fell, and still the empire had not broken the Greek defense. On the second night, a single man changed the fate of the battle. Ephialtes offered Xerxes what no army had forced: the hidden mountain path. The king's frustration became opportunity, and betrayal became the strategy of victory. The immortals climbed through the mountain forest under darkness and cold silence. Above the pass, Phocian guards heard movement in the trees and stones. Confusion spread as Persian arrows scattered them away from the path. The Persians did not stop. They passed around the Greek position. A runner raced down the mountain with the worst news imaginable. Leonidas learned that the trap had closed around the men who set it. At dawn, the Greek commanders faced the truth. The pass was lost. Leonidas ordered most allies to withdraw and continue the war elsewhere. Men departed Thermopylae, knowing others had chosen to remain behind. The 300 Spartans stayed in formation, silent and immovable as stone. The Thespians chose the same fate, though history would too often forget them. Some Thebans remained as well, uneasy beneath the shadow of defeat. Leonidas spoke not of survival but of duty, time, and memory. Every face now understood that the morning offered no path of retreat. Then the final defenders stepped forward from the wall into the open pass. The final advance began, not to escape death, but to make Persia pay. Leonidas stood at the front, exactly where a Spartan king was expected to stand. In the chaos of the final struggle, the king of Sparta was brought down. His men closed around him, fighting again and again to protect their king. Spears broke, swords flashed, shields locked, and the narrow pass became pure resistance. The last Spartans and Thespians gathered on a small hill above the field. Persians surrounded them from every side, unwilling to meet them closely again. A storm of arrows crossed the sky, ending the stand, but not its meaning. Thermopylae fell silent, and defeat became one of history's immortal memories.